Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode number 25. This is where I'm reviewing the 25th season of Case Closed. It's 39 episodes, covering episodes 779 to 817. It covers the manga, chapters 891 to 920. Yeah, not much, like roughly 30 chapters over the course of 39 episodes, and 21 of these episodes are in fact filler. Yep, 21 of these basically, so we have only 18 episodes of filler. And this is a season that has the longest string of canon episodes to date. Yep, these are the filler episodes. Well, filler episode, the longest string of filler episodes. 784, 789 to 791, 794 to 807, 813, and the last two episodes are in fact filler, 16, 17. The first 5 episodes is simply put the Scarlet Truth. Yes, this pretty much just covers just 3 chapters. Is it 3? Oh, the first 2 cover 3. I think it covers basically up to pretty much like up until like, yeah, it covers like good 8 chapters. Now it's basically 2 separate stories. It's a kind of similar setup to the case of the Clash of Red and Black, and the following 3 are basically as a follow up to that. The first 2 is investigating pretty much the attempted murder of a friend of Jodie Starling. Yep, a friend of hers is basically nearly killed. She's basically in the hospital. She's killed. Well, she's injured by, well, falling down a set of stairs. And this episode, the first one and the following one, basically try to figure out who basically hurt her. Turns out it was basically apparently one of the teachers. We also have that Bourbon. Yes, Bourbon was actually the person she hired to figure out who was stalking her. Yep. Yeah, it turns out basically was the guy who killed her. Yep. Vermouth actually appears in this one. Yep. What does she do? Sits in his car. Yep. I should point out that this woman is a smoking hot woman. This woman is also rumored to be in her 40s possibly, because she hasn't aged in 20 years. The actual age of her is completely unknown. Appearance-wise, she looks like probably in her, I'd say probably like late 20s, early 30s. Actual age, no idea. They do kind of explain it was possibly CG. Yes, the stuff they use for computer animation. That's what used to keep her young. Possibly, but who the heck knows, because the writer himself has never bothered to explain it. And yet the series has been out for a good like 25, at least about 26 years now, and he's never bothered to explain this at all. The anime itself, they mentioned this season that basically it's been 20 years since the series aired. Yeah, that's kind of true. Despite the fact this is the 25th season of the series. Yeah, because the way seasons work the series is quite bizarre. Yep. So, in the case next 3 episodes, we finally found the truth of Subaru. Yes, it's revealed that he's actually Aki in disguise. Though when Bourbon confronts about it, it's actually not Aki at this point. Nope, it's basically Booker Gudo, Jimmy's dad, the one who's a mystery writer. He posed as him, and his wife basically was posed. His beautiful smoking hot wife was posing as him at basically this show's parody of the Oscars. So it's called the Mexican Academy Awards, I think it's called. Which I'm like, okay. And apparently he was nominated for Best Original Screenplay. I should point out though, in real life, sometimes writers do in fact have a hand in writing scripts based upon their novels. Case in point, there's a couple of them I can think of who actually has had a hand in the writing the script for adaptation of their novels. I can think about 3 of them. Clive Barker is one of them. Yes, he's the first though. Because he wrote the original novel that the film Hellraiser is based on. He wrote the script for the film, and he basically directed it. Another one, basically in the case of this, where you have a writer who writes the book and then basically writes the adaptation. Basically, J.K. Rowling. She is another one. And And this is one that basically that from what I've heard is completely true. From what I heard, this is true about these particular series of films. The books, the 50 Shades of Grey, the first book, the adaptation of the second and third book, the script was done by the writer of the series. Yeah, the whole series where a lot of this stuff happens in one room, and it's about torture. It's basically, it's something I really not get into. I never read 50 Shades of Grey. I have no interest in it. It's quite stupid. So, yeah, having a writer, basically, Mr. Write, or at least a writer of a book, writing adaptation of let's say, a movie or whatever, like other work, is nothing unusual. This is basically standard procedure because a lot of the time the writers will basically get involved with the adaptation process. One of the most famous cases of this, aside from this one, was the writer of Mary Poppins, P.L. Travers. Yeah, as shown in St. Mrs. Banks, she did have a hand in basically writing. Well, she basically made changes to the script, but at least she got co-credit on it. Yep. And oh yeah, and of course, well, you also have Jodie who basically finds out about the whole thing about Aki being alive, and of course they revisit the place where he apparently died back at the beginning of season 17, toward the end of the case, the Clash of Red and Black, and apparently they're followed by a bunch of men in black. No, not from the Black Organization. Nope, it's from an actual from I don't know if this agency is real or not in Japan. The Public Security Bureau, which, from what I can tell, is possibly Japan's version of the FBI. And this is revealed that Bourbon is an agent of them. Oh yeah, and Conan confronts him a couple times about the fact that he does know about Bourbon. He knows about his secret. And at the end of it, it's like, calls him liar. And it's kind of confirmed, it's hinted that possibly Bourbon does know that Conan is Jimmy. Possibly, but they don't confirm it. Yeah, but at least you have Jodie who meets, well, Jimmy's smoking hot mom for the first time. And she's actually quite surprised. And it's revealed in the last episode that what actually caused Aki to sound differently when he's basically Subaru and when Aki via a voice choker. Yes, something that also, believe it or not, Booker Kudo himself has used, and his beautiful wife. Yep, well, his wife posing as him, and of course Booker posing as Subaru. So yeah, basically via and apparently the kids, the Junior Tech League, apparently they kind of see this. They may think it's some collar he just basically likes to wear. They don't know it's actually supposed to change his voice. And apparently, aside from Jimmy, of course, and of course his parents, Jodie and Carmel basically find out about it. They're quite shocked, and they also find out the other one that an agent knows Rum has been activated. From what Aki says, he says he's a close advisor to the boss. It's later revealed by Hybera that he is the number 2 in the organization. He's basically one step above Jin. Okay, yeah, it's actually in the next Canon episode. Yeah, but the whole thing with the Skull Trip is actually quite interesting. Oh yeah, they even have public security people basically outside of the Kudo house. But it's a great 5-parter. Interesting thing about the next episode. Welcome to Club Habaru or Hima. This episode, believe it or not, was actually supposed to start the season, but for some reason they basically put the Scar 2 first. I have no idea why. The episode itself, when I watched it, it was by far one of the most boringest episodes of the whole series. You have this group of women who basically form to help other women to get advice on making love letters. And there's pranks, and it turns to the person who brought Serena, Rachel, and Conan there. Yeah, she's behind it. Yeah, apparently it's named after the Juliet thing in Italy. Okay, that's fine. But this is something that I personally do not find interesting at all. I'm sure any female viewers might actually enjoy this, but this is not an episode for me. It's basically an episode for girls. Yeah, so only watch it if you're a girl. And then, of course, we have the Taku Mahjong Match of Love. Yep. With this one, we get another part of Metropolitan Police Love Story serial, and another appearance by Mizumi Sarah. Yeah, she appears in this one, though she has no interaction with her brother. Yeah, this guy is actually her brother, her middle brother. They don't reveal it at this point, they reveal it later. Yeah, so he basically is a shogi player. See him do, like, you see his rival, he does an opening move, and then he says, I gotta go think. And he's gone for like 3 hours. And what is the period of time? Let's see, he runs into the Junior Detective Elite and Professor Agasa, and they go and find his missing girlfriend, Yumi. Yeah, they officially start dating again. And and of course, Saito appears in this. She does jack frickin' squat in this one. She appears briefly. She doesn't do very mostly just McGuire doing some stuff. That's really it. Yeah, McGuire, Tagaki, and Saito. Now Saito McGuire, that's McGuire. Saito and Tagaki. These two are generally the focus of the Metropolitan Police love stories, but on occasion they might focus on other officers. This one's focused on Yumi. And it's probably the first time in the whole series, probably the first time since they did karaoke, you see her without her uniform on. Yes, and she's wearing a pink dress. So, and it turns out she's kidnapped by somebody that Kaido basically, oh, he knows. Yep, someone he fought like several years prior, who he beat via technicality because he basically sort of cheated to basically sort of, well, get the match up with, so he could see his wife, and then of course his wife died, and of course, well, he remembers the match very well, apparently, so when they eventually do find him, and it's a great puzzle thing, just to find this place, and they eventually do find it, and he sits down, has the match, and even he realized, though, he would have won anyways, despite the technicality. And of course, Yumi's let go, and he, of course, just doesn't do anything. And of course, while everybody else basically decides to go with Agasa, with the exception of Conan, with the exception of Conan, everyone else basically hops in the police car with Nikito drives. Nikito, by the way, is Kaba's childhood sweetheart. Of course, he doesn't find this out until like very recently. Yeah, he's basically oblivious to the fact that this woman with pigtails, this beautiful woman, is his childhood sweetheart. Yep. He is too oblivious that he doesn't find this out until just prior to a case that happened just recently in manga, which was the Sarah Policewoman one. Yeah, that's when he does find out about it. So they get to the place, get to this hotel, which was match take place, and oh no, he lost his collection. Basically, a picture of Yumi, and Yumi's like, okay, how about a kiss? And she kisses him, and of course, Yumi herself is oblivious to the fact that her boyfriend is a shogi player. She thinks he's just an actor to play. No, that's the uniform they wear when they play frickin' shogi. And from what I looked up online, apparently what he did is now considered to be illegal. If you leave the building when the match takes place, you're basically, your match is deemed. You basically forfeit the match, and your opponent is declared the winner because you left the building. And apparently, and this is true from what I looked up, that it is actually illegal. It's actually against the rules for shogi players to bring your cell phones to matches, which he didn't, in a way. Though he didn't exactly answer. He probably should have given it to someone who's associated with him to hold on to it, so he like say, oh yeah, he didn't have it on him when he basically was in the building. Yeah, this was a great little two-parter, and Mary Sarah is actually back after. She's actually back in the following two-parter. Yep, which is The Mystery Sinking in the Midsummer Pool. Yep, this one has the return of Mary Sarah. Well, this is technically, you see her in the series, and this is actually the first time, well, they actually go to a hotel that, well, Sarah's staying at. Conan's invited there, but because they found out because they have some swimming pools, like, okay, fine. And so they say go swimming. And basically they look around her room. Mary herself hides in the bathroom. Though they do play a bug later, which I thought that was quite hilarious. He actually takes time to plant a bug, which basically is part of a temple to his glasses. So they go down to the pool. Rachel's wearing a very revealing swimsuit, and unlike the last time this happened, where he looked at her, he didn't exactly pass out from. He didn't pass out kind of a nosebleed. His face just turned red. Yeah. And apparently he does like her swimsuit. And of course, then you have Sarah in a normal swimsuit top and look like shorts she's wearing. But they're basically normal swimsuit shorts, anyways. I have seen, believe it or not, I have seen some female swimsuits for women who actually do look like this. It's not always bikini bottom. Sometimes basically it's a one-piece suit, or in the case of Missouri Sarah is wearing in the episode, which is basically just a regular bikini top and a shorts bottom. I have seen this in person, so this basically is real. Yes. So this woman who basically is the daughter of this company that is a subsidiary to Serena's, the company that basically that Serena's family owns, and they also own this hotel. And she's looking for a missing necklace. Yeah, it's revealed who actually. Well, then she later is killed. His necklace is stolen, and it turns out the person who actually took it, who actually did all this, was actually the hotel manager, who also used an aquarium. It's a bit of a fun little two-parter, and well, it's also revealed that her half-sister, who she treats like a servant, and her fiance, apparently they were together. Well, she thinks they're together, but nope, they were just playing her birthday party. That's the whole thing about them, like being an item and him cheating on her. That was all a complete misunderstanding. Though she never finds out because she's freaking dead. Well, she's killed by the hotel manager because apparently she was the one who actually caused the accident to kill his sister's family, his sister and her family. Yep, that's the reason why he killed her. And after this, well, it's later revealed that Conan took time to plant a bug in Sarah's room, and it's smashed by Mary. And then also, this technology looks quite different. I wonder who actually built it. They'll find out later it's Agasa. But this two-parter is, of course, you see Subaru, aka Aki, appears in this one at the end of it. He does appear like one other time in the season, and that's it. As for the mother and daughter, they do not return in the season. Nope, they actually are absent for the rest of the season. They don't return until like episode 828, which is basically almost 40 episodes after this. Yep. Then we have the Queen Weather's forecast. Yeah, this was an odd one. Yep, this woman died by nearly tripping over a garland, falling through a railing that apparently had been pre-broken anyways, and it turns out it was I think it was like the studio manager was the one who killed her. Yeah, this was sort of a nothing case anyways. Yeah, because apparently she found you blackmail or so whatever. Yeah, it's not the interesting of a standalone episode. And then we have the Bachman Bleeding Service. Yeah, this one is about, well, a guy who was forced to put on a bear suit after the guy who was originally supposed to wear it got a stomachache, and he nearly gets killed by a guy who says, "Die, Katsuru," and yeah, it turns out the reason why the guy who basically tried to kill him was the floor manager. Because he had just been promoted to store manager to another store, and apparently he knew stuff about him that he wanted to basically be erased from the world. Oh yeah, and the whole thing of him wearing like red pants and like it was like yellow coat, basically closed inside out. Oh yeah, and what happened to his mask? This was the most stupidest thing he can do. He made the mask his underwear. I'm not kidding, he seriously did. Yes, it's a very dumb original episode, but it's nice to see the whole bear thing. Yep. Then we have Tetsutakagi on the run handcuffs. Yes, this one was okay. And apparently Tetsutakagi loves bragging about a film that's actually this series version of about like a cop and basically a guy who they're on the run and they sort of bond together. Yeah, and it turns out the guy who he was transporting was actually not the actual person doing the stalking, whatever. Yeah, it turns out it was the other guy, the slim guy, and the waitress basically he had a thing for. Yep, it's just a okay one. It's just an odd thing. This one. First three discoverers. Yep, this is the whole thing that Abra basically asked. Well, was asked about rum. hmm Yeah, this one. Basically, just I don't really remember this one. I watched this one a couple of days ago. I'd look it up to see what exactly this one is. Let's see. This one is okay. This one. This one's actually kind of an episode. Three guys, and they apparently killed like a writer. Yeah, it's a bit of a nothing one. But yeah, it turns out the three guys they were actually after was three people suspected could be rum based on descriptions, but it's just something that I don't. It's not nothing really much to progress in this one. Not really, no. Aside from the whole thing about rum being revealed in number two in the organization. Bodyguard Curry Murdo. Yeah, this one is basically Richard Moore being a bodyguard to a actress. Yeah, this one basically, aside from Conan, Richard, and Rachel, yeah, they're the only like reoccurring characters appear in this episode. Even the final episode's only got two people. This one is a bit of a nothing one, too. Yeah. Well, one person had to be killed by this other person, and Bridgemore gets fired, and because he used his client as bait. Yeah, and the client is 40 years old. She looks great for her age, and apparently she wears a wig. Despite she has short white hair. Yeah. All because that apparently that the guy who basically was one of the people in charge of security, suspected she was one person responsible for turning down, well, basically causing his daughter to nearly commit suicide for not getting a part that she wanted. Turns out she was actually sick that day. Turns out it was the mean actress who was there. She was the one to do it, and it's like, you're gonna kill somebody, kill the right person. Yep. And then we have the secret of the missing lady. This one was an interesting one. Yes, we have this woman who disappears, and this guy is suspected of murdering him, and the woman that shows up, possibly his mistress. Nope, not really mistress at all. It's actually his sister. Yeah, and the whole thing was a complete misunderstanding because she had just gotten pregnant and gave birth to a girl. Oh yeah, and Amy basically insists this thing had to be investigated so badly, and because the reason why this is because the woman treated her like she was her own child, and kind of in a way she kind of thought of these two as her second parents. And of course, this little baby basically is kind of like her surrogate, like she's like the surrogate sister to this adorable little baby that she had just given birth a few days prior. Yeah, I mean, the ending is the best part of this whole entire episode because the whole thing is sort of a waste of time until you get to the very end. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, and by the way, do these characters appear again in the series? Nope. One of those rare times when you have original characters and they don't really appear. Next you have. Oh yeah, this is during the period of time when we have like standalone filler. Yeah, most of the filler episodes from the 14 episode string, like all but the last four, the first 10 are all standalones. Yep, all standalones. Yeah, mystery in the mystery battle. Yeah, this one's all about like a guy who ends up a pool of a place that apparently Agasa's a friend of his basically, and the guys were getting back to soccer here, and they couldn't get back to figure out how the heck the guy, where the guy fell from, how they got in this pool. Yeah, it turns out this whole thing was done via an accident. He wasn't killed, just basically spooked by a woman used a hose on her window because, well, the guy was a robber. 100 million yen. This one's basically about kidnapping case. That apparently well, I think the housekeeper basically was possibly like responsible for kidnapping, but nope, it was actually not her at all. Nope. The housekeeper did not kidnap the adorable little girl. Yeah, it turns out it was actually a jewelry store owner. Yeah, they transport this 100 million yen to first go to this jewelry store, pick up 10 diamonds, even though these things are basically probably worth a lot more than 100 million, and then go to this pier, put them in a bottle that basically is clean, just about covered in ants, with a pink ribbon, throw in the river. That was it. And Conan figures out, though, that, yeah, the guy was the jewelry store and he was one behind all of it. Yeah, and he's able to defeat him, just knocking him out with a tranquilizer dart. Yep. An episode that was kind of interesting. I mean, it was a good plot. Yeah. As for the person being behind all this, yeah, I wasn't really that surprised. It was okay. Now we have the Turtle Sand Dunes Mystery Tour. This one was quite interesting. Yep, all about this missing incense burner, and they try to figure out who stole it, and basically it's revealed to be the daughter-in-law of this family head, who has married the eldest son, and this adorable little baby. Yeah, this baby looks like it's 2. Yeah, 2-year-old baby, 2-year-old child. This adorable little thing, and the housekeeper, the former housekeeper, this one was a complete jerk. Yeah, I don't really care for this woman at all. And they show a flashback. She used to be a brunette. Now she's got purple hair, wears a poofy coat, and a purple lipstick. Yeah, and she wanted to take, well, the daughter-in-law wanted to take her to basically push her to the cliff and claim self-defense. Yeah, they figure this out pretty quickly. And, yeah. She's basically later arrested for conspiracy to murder. Yeah, and of course, son-in-law is like, her husband's like, yeah, I'll cut ties with my family, but I'm gonna keep our boy, and basically have where his brother is deemed the next heir to the family. Okay, fine. It's interesting little two-parter. The Pitfall of Fire predictions. Yep. This one is mainly about fires that happen at playgrounds. And they expect this one guy doing it, but nope, he had nothing to do with it at all. It was another guy. Yeah. It was okay. Okay, now we have 804 and 805. Now, when I saw this, I'm like, this looks hell so interesting. Yeah, and it turns out in this episode, this is all about one of the main primary characters who appear in this two-parter is an actual kabuki actor. Yeah, and this guy does exist. And believe it or not, he actually voices himself in this two-parter. Apparently, it's a New Year's special. And this, by far, was a fantastic two-parter. I kind of wish they actually brought the guy back. Because as far as I know, this is his only appearance in the series. And it's interesting, though, the guy voices himself. And you see him both in his Komodo, and you see him in, like, a different, like, casual look. Yeah, it's a great little two-parter. But my gosh, there is so much that happens in this two-part, and both of these two episodes are an hour long apiece. Yeah, first you have like there's a various string of a series of unfortunate events that happen in these two episodes. First you have an owner of a company gets his brake sabotaged. Yeah, revealed who later. Then we have like Conan gets kidnapped because we also have a mask that gets stolen. We have a secretary who gets murdered. We also have a photographer who gets murdered via a construction site. Conan who gets kidnapped and nearly killed in the same construction site. Thanks to Eberu. That's basically the guy who's in the episode. He tells him, stop moving. And of course they have this old demon thing. It's like, what? Oh, Eberu-san, huh? What are you doing here? It's like, stop. Let's get free Conan. Yeah. And they find out who it is. And it's the guy from the beginning. Basically, he's the one who caused all this. So he's arrested more than just murder or attempted murder. He's arrested for, like, oh my gosh, like this is probably the one person I've seen in the series who's arrested for the most crimes. He's arrested for attempted murder, 2 counts of murder, theft. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, and the place that was destroyed was actually one of his properties. Yep. Oh, he's also charged with kidnapping as well. Yeah, probably the most charges I have ever seen that one person gets charged with. Yeah, and here's the thing. Richard Moore thought it was the guest star. He thought he was the one who was responsible for all this. And kind of pointed out though that nope, it wasn't him. It was the guy basically who basically financed the place. Richard Moore was insistent it was this guy. Heck, even after he did his deduction, you think they should arrest him. Nope, it was somebody else. He was like so happy. It's like, hey, using the play? Yeah. But this was a great little two-parter, one I was looking forward to. And then we have the last two of the string of 14 filler episodes. We have the ventriloquist illusion. We have this ventriloquist who suspected killing his wife, and turns out he was set up by somebody else. Like, thinks of us, but nope, he really did kill her. Yep, and there's a whole thing of basically a play on the whole Conan posing as using Richard Moore as a puppet. Yeah, they basically made several references in this very episode itself, but this episode was just kind of hilarious. But my gosh, was it just me, or is it the puppet who appears in this two-parter? This ventriloquist dummy. He looks a lot like Slappy from Goosebumps. He even talks like him too, even though it's in Japanese. But my gosh, this guy was basically the way they had the dummy period in this two-parter. He was a murderous psycho. He appears like a psychopath. Like seriously, at one point the guy tried to stab his own ventriloquist dummy. It's an odd little two-parter. Yeah, and turns out it was a trophy being in the wrong place. That was the whole basis. But my gosh, it was a weird little two-parter. And then we have the commentary in. Yeah. And here's the thing. Harley talks about like various other things. And Conan brings up the... Yes? Hello. Recording a video. Because my niece had to come in here. Yeah, so let's see. Oh yeah. What are you doing? Trying to. What are you doing? I'm recording a video, Bailey. You're lying. Anyways, yeah. So Conan kind of basically blackmails him to figure out what the case is via a recording he made. He's like, "What are you doing to my content?" And they're like, "Content." He's like so funny. And of course, Content brings up the Ranger later. It's so hilarious. Yeah, and apparently it's later revealed at the end of this little two-parter that Anita has this particular saying as her ringtone, which I think is so hilarious. Yep, and this whole thing is basically just to investigate this myth that happens to this hotel. You have this single mother basically who takes care of her son. Basically, his birthday's coming up, and apparently her husband died a year prior to this. Okay. Oh yeah, and the victim was her father-in-law, the guy who basically kind of owned the place in a way. She was the landlady. Yeah, and the male guy who appears in this episode, I think he's a writer. Yeah, it's kind of revealed they were actually classmates in middle school. It's implied he may have feelings for her, but it's never revealed upon this two-parter. But yeah, this one was actually quite interesting. But the whole thing of that recording is so hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. But it's a pretty good little two-parter. And now we have the last coming to the last string of episodes, the last 8. First, we have a 3-parter introduces the character of Haitoku Kuroda. This is a big bulking guy who's 50 years old, white hair, white beard, though it's basically one of those musketeer style beards, where it's like connected from the sideburns down to your chin. He's got like a scar on his face, like a burn mark. He's got like a prosthetic eye. Yeah, it's revealed basically he got this via fire. And the whole thing with this one is that a series of cops, basically there's a cop killer running about, and it was actually a cop who actually killed these people. Because, well, they apparently killed somebody that he apparently, because these 3 guys killed his little sister. So he tried to kill this inspector who knew these people. But this is a fun little two-parter. And then just by sheer coincidence, I thought this was really weird. Okay. And this is never explained in this series. It's like, apparently, Kaoru knows who Conan is. He first has the Sleeping Kudo's bag of wisdom. And then, like, he shows up in the next Canon episode, which is right after the standalone episode. I'll get to that in a minute. Where they're investigating a murder happening at a hotel. And the maid who appeared in that four-parter that... I'm trying to think, what was her name, basically, who appears in this one? Let's see if I can find her here. Yeah, it's called The Actress's Locked Room. Yeah, basically, Sarako appear. Yeah, she returns for her last non-appearance in the series. Yep. Yeah, this is a great character. I kind of wish she appeared a little bit more. She only appeared in 3 cases. I mean, prior to this, she appeared in an episode like that kind of basically developed Kaba, who actually, believe it or not, does not appear in this two-part at all. Nope, Takagi does. So does McGuire. Yep. And it's also the first time that Sarako meets the Junior Detective League. Yep, first time they ever meet. And the only time, because she's here for like most of the episode, and then she just basically fades to background, doesn't do very much after like halfway through the story. Oh yeah, and it turns out the person who killed, the whole thing with this one is that we have this actress gets killed, and then of course the commissioner calls up Takagi and says, listen to Conan's orders. And apparently Takagi is like, Conan, you know the commissioner? And you think it's the big bulking guy with the scar on his face. Yeah, as for who it is, it's quite bizarre. And this is something that apparently the series never explained. I'll get to that in a minute. So, they revealed the other actress who Conan suspected all along, the ones that killed her. Yep, killed her. All because apparently that she was going to reveal a secret that she apparently ran over a drunk guy. But that was not the thing in the code in the picture that she was showing off. The fact she lied about her age. I'm like, that's really the reason for this. Yep. And it's revealed that the guy who appeared in the last Canon episode, Kaoru, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, Kuroda has now become basically Murako's new... He replaced him. As for why in the world this happened, I mean, he had just been introduced. Well, in the anime, it only had been... Like, by the time he showed up at the end of this two-parter... Which, by the way, this is episode 815. It only been about 3 episodes since his last appearance in the series. And by the next case, he's automatically taken over, becoming McGuire's superior. Yeah, as far as I know in this series, this has never been explained at all. The manga doesn't explain it at all. As far as I know, the writer has never publicly explained why the heck he decided to do this for me. The character had just been introduced, and you replaced the guy who doesn't really appear that much in the series, and he appears a little bit more than he does. Yep. And I suspect this guy might be Rum. But really, he doesn't. Because when he first meets Anita for the first time, that he probably should recognize her as Sherry, but nope, he doesn't. Yeah. Apparently, he decided to move to Tokyo for some reason, despite the fact he was in another city, in another province in Japan. And he moves here, and becomes McGuire's superior. For some reason. Yeah, this is by far, like I said, something that the series never bothers to explain. At all. Yeah, I look him online like, is there an explanation that somehow in the manga this happened? Because I read the manga like, nope, he just randomly just becomes new, just transfers, becomes this new superior, even though easily could have McGuire take over, because he's been the head of this unit for quite a while. Why him take over? Nope, let's bring somebody from a different freaking city to take over this job. And somebody who's actually appearance-wise looks older than the last guy. Why? No idea why. Though it was later revealed that he's possibly investigating the whole thing behind the whole Sleeping Kudo stuff. Yep. And those last that came episodes, actually a few filler episodes. One was actually the first to feature Bourbon. Yeah, featuring a guy who'd been following him, and Conan talks to him for a little while, and apparently they get along fine in this filler episode, where they talk about the fact that he's part of the Black Organization, the Public Security Bureau. I'm like, since when these two get along, despite the fact last time we saw each other in the canon stuff, these two didn't like each other very much. Apparently, they get along perfectly fine, like they're close friends. Yep. And so the reason the guy was following him because he wanted basically to sell his sandwiches at his bakery. Yep, that's basically the whole point of this one. Though it was interesting little character development at the end. We have Vermouth, who also appears for the first time in a filler episode, and she reveals that, hey, Bourbon, Jin is investigating you! And Bourbon has a shocked look on his face, and this is far as I know never been followed up with. Yeah, because Jin half the time doesn't really appear that much. Yep. Then we have a two filler episodes to end the season. The Disappointing Kind Alien and The Missing Fiancé. Disappointing Kind Alien, this was a bit of a fun one. Yeah, well, with attempted murder, a murder. This was okay, but the last one, The Missing Fiancé, my gosh, this one was like, okay, we have it where Richard Moore and Conan get along. This only happens sometimes in filler episodes, not by much. And they agree with each other. They act like, it's kind of like Richard Moore is basically put in the place of Harley. Because the way they interact with each other, it's very similar to how Conan interacts with Harley and we actually with Mizumi, with Sarah. It's very similar of how these two interact. And my guess is the writers probably really wanted to use either Sarah or Harley in this one. But they probably figured though, nah, save them for canon stuff. I mean, Harley himself has appeared for at least one filler episode. Sarah, as far as I can tell, has never appeared for a filler episode. Never in the entire series. And yet Saria's boyfriend has, once, I think in next season. Actually, I think Scratchy X appears in the current season, appears in the filler episode, but maybe the same for canon stuff. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to put her in canon stuff, Sarah. I mean, she's in town. I mean, you don't have to basically have major character with her in the filler stuff. I mean, you can have basically some of her hobbies, but not like developing her character with a relationship with Conan. Yeah, but it's like the writer's episode really want to use either her or Harley for this one, but my guess is that the writer probably said, no, use Richard Moore instead. Yeah. Here's the thing about this one. This episode was sort of a waste of time. Yes, basically looking for this missing woman, who turns out, like, okay, they actually fake her death. And nope, she's actually really dead. Killed by the clock guy who actually hired Richard Moore at the start of the episode. What has he been doing? Virtually nothing. He appears at the beginning of the episode, he appears in like one flashback, couple flashbacks, and he appears at the end, and that's it. This episode was a complete waste. I'm not sure why the heck this episode was necessary to make it. It's like this was a rejected script from a different anime. They just basically threw in Conan and Richard Moore because they felt like it. The kind of alien one that was just a pure fun one. Yeah, it's fun for children for that one. Yeah. But yeah, not much else to say about this particular season. This was an interesting season, but if you count how many episodes overall and how many canon episodes over the season, there are only 18 of these 13 episodes were canon and 20 were filler. And also, we also have it where we have the longest string of filler episodes in the entire series. If you're wondering what was the second longest, it actually happens in the current season that's airing right now. Yep. I'll get to that probably next week. Well, actually, probably a couple weeks, basically, because next season, believe it or not, currently is like 88 episodes in. That's not a joke. It's a really long damn season. The next season is only 13 episodes, so hopefully it won't be very long. I think even this next season probably doesn't cover that very much. Actually, it does. It only covers about 37 chapters. It covers a little bit more than this season does, though it's pretty much the same length. I think there's there's actually, believe it or not, a little bit more filler in this season, a little bit less filler in season 26 than there is in this season I just finished up. Yeah, but another season in a row where we ended with a filler episode instead of a canon one. I have no idea why. Maybe the series is running out of material. And I was thinking though prior to this review, like, okay, if you run out of material, why not just adapt more to the special chapters? You can throw in Sarah in these chapters. I mean, yeah, she doesn't really appear in these chapters. Just adapt more of these chapters. You got like a whole you have like there's like 20 of these chapters, 23 of these chapters, and there's nothing that says you can't adapt them for an episode. You're adapted 2 already. Just adapt them until you get more material to use from. Yep. Instead of just keep constantly using filler. You can use filler now and again, but not constantly like the way this series tends to do. Especially with the current season, which has more filler in it than it does canon. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular video. I know this one's very long, but it was a lot to talk about when it comes to this particular season. But I do have one more video coming today, and it's a review of the newest episode of Attack on Titan, which is the second to last episode of the season. Yep. So yeah, until you see you in that video, bye.